Hello, everybody.
What's going on? What's going on?
Hey, how you doing?
Good evening.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, everyone.
I'm excited to see everyone. Welcome to the HBCU Table Talk, where we have some HBCU student leaders from across the nation. So I guess we can pretty much tell everyone a little bit about ourselves, what school we go to. Would anybody like to go first? I guess I'll go.
I think we should go first.
Okay.
Is
we'll go
that
ahead.
okay?
Ladies first, introduce yourself, Tati.
Okay. Well, hey everybody. My name is Tatiana Battle. I'm a senior mass communication major and a Panther ambassador at the illustrious. You know you got to say that when you got an HBCU. Illustrious Prairie View A&M University. And I am so glad to be here. We've got some heavy hitters, okay? The names on this screen, when I tell you, Jalen, go ahead, take it from here. Just take it from here.
Oh, well, you know, Tati, I'm as excited as you are. Y'all, my name is Jalen Spites. I am a Panther ambassador at the illustrious Prairie View A&M University, and I am super excited to be at the table with some like-minded peers, and have this conversation. So, you go next. Anybody?
I guess
Hello,
I'll
everybody.
go next. Oh, you got it. Go ahead, bro. You got it.
Hello, everybody. I am Lewis Moore, a graduating senior sport management scholar, concentrating in sales and marketing promotions here at the livest HBCU on the planet, Winston-Salem State University. I currently serve as the Campus Activities Board President as well.
Okay.
I guess I'll go next. Hi, everybody. My name is Bruce Williams III. I am a current senior studying healthcare management at the livest HBCU in the nation, Winston-Salem State University, and I serve as the SGA Chief of Staff for this school year.
Wow. That's great.
Hello. Oh, I apologize.
No, go ahead.
Everyone, my name is Rachel Howell. I am a graduating senior political science major and philosophy minor from Alpharetta, Georgia, and I proudly serve as the 60th president of the Howard University Student Association.
Wow.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Spencer Jones, and I'm a second-year student at the illustrious Dilley University in New Orleans, majoring in urban studies and public policy with a concentration in pre-law. And this year, I serve as the NAACP Vice President.
Wow. Well, that's great. Nice to meet everybody. So, Tati, did you want to pretty much jump into it?
You know what? I've been waiting nearly all week for this discussion to happen. I know it's only Wednesday, y'all, but hey, we made it, okay? We made it to the middle of the week. Let's go ahead and, recognize it is Black History Month, and we are all on this panel together representing our wonderful HBCUs. And, talking about HBCUs always gets me excited. I know it does for y'all because it's where, it's where we shape who we are. That's where we find our identity. So I'm just going to go ahead and start it off and say why I chose an HBCU. And then I'm going to toss it to Jalen, and he's going to tell you guys why he chose to go to Prairie View as well. So I'd like to say, first off, I chose an HBCU because I truly believe that, I wanted to learn about Black culture, Black history from Black voices. And so growing up, I did go to a predominantly white high school. So a lot of times, a lot of things were overlooked. There was a lot of missteps. There was a lot of overly nice people. And, and you can feel that, you can sense that. But as soon as I stepped on the yard, y'all, I kid you not, it was like instant community, instant family. And I feel like no matter what HBCU you go to, you always feel that. You feel like you're at home. You never feel that lonely or cold or awkward feeling. You feel like you can really express yourself. And that is why I chose to go to Prairie View. Now, I feel like Jalen, he's going to have a similar reason, but, we all family. So go ahead.
For sure. I definitely love this conversation because, throughout time, a lot of people always ask why an HBCU. I definitely chose an HBCU just because I wanted to go through an experience where I could be around people who went through the same experience as me. We all have grown. All of you guys are, obviously African American, and it's pretty interesting to learn about different Black experiences and learning with other people who look just like you, and also celebrating how we look. It's so many things I've learned about Black history throughout HBCUs, which we're going to get to a little bit later. But yeah, so I definitely found that pretty important. So I'm sure you guys all can agree as well.
I guess I'll go. I chose the HBCU because I remember watching a different world as a kid, and it always got me excited about college. And then my parents are alums of Winston-Salem State, so I knew if I came to Winston-Salem State specifically that I could create a legacy for myself. I mean, you guys have said in the past that it's a place to be. It's really the culture. It's the family environment. It's like you're going to school with all your cousins and your aunties and your uncles, and you step foot on campus, you feel every single step of the culture, the history, the athletics, everything compiled into one. Even the events is just an amazing experience. So that's why I chose the HBCU so that I can create my own legacy before I step into this world.
So I would say for myself, well, first of all, there's no other college experience like the HBCU experience. You cannot get it anywhere. I don't care what you say. For myself, I really wanted to go to an HBCU, particularly in mine, because of the great family atmosphere that you find at HBCUs. And like Jalen said, you go to school and go through experiences with like-minded people who have been through the same things as you, the same struggles as you, and who society views as the same too. And then it's like when you're at an HBCU, you get a chance for 4 years to be a majority in a space, because in America we're viewed as a minority, but at an HBCU we're the majority. So I would never ever trade the HBCU experience for the world. Like Jalen said, you go.
I guess I'll go next. I feel like for me, I chose an HBCU based upon my surroundings that I endured when I was living up north. Seeing a lot of my friends not having the same opportunities as me, being in jail and being, marginalized because of the decisions that they made. I wanted to make a difference and, really show that I can leave my hometown and be a person that people can look up to, not only, because of the family environment that I get, the cookout feel and, the stepping and, the loveliness that you get when you get on a HBCU campus, but, to be able to really show my prowess and, my skills as a Black man, to be a leader for the next generation and to be, a spokesperson for those that don't have, coming from HBCU has so much prestige behind it. And I just wanted to really showcase, not only for myself, but for my people, what you can do with an HBCU education, not only an HBCU education, but an education regardless.
Yeah, I love that. I decided to attend an HBCU because historically we know that HBCUs have been a safe space for Black people. But when it comes to my family, my grandfather attended North Carolina A&T, and he was I'm going to share a brief story. He was one of 16 children, and he lived on a farm in North Carolina. And so his parents only chose 2 siblings to go to college, and he wasn't selected. But he went to North Carolina A&T with a bag. He packed a pair of shoes, a pair of pants, 2 shirts, and a book. He went to A&T and said, "Hello, my name is AB. I don't have any money, but I can do anything." And they were like, "Okay, well, can you fly an airplane?" And he was like, "No, I can do anything but fly an airplane." And so then, but because he had worked on a farm, because he had that background, he was able to tend like the livestock that was on A&T's campus. And so he was ultimately able to get his master's and get his bachelor's and his master's. But I said that story is like, I feel as if that just completely exemplifies, how HBCUs are a safe space. Like when you don't believe in yourself, you have your peers that keep you going, and you just look at the legacy, you look at the history behind your university, and you should be in a space where you're able to be you, but you're also able to create your own legacy, and you're able to, look at other alum and see all that they have been able, to do within their personal lives, and also the contributions that they have made to society, and that should motivate you to continue that. So that's why I decided to attend an HBCU.
Powerful, powerful.
Wow, that's great, you guys. And that's the beautiful thing about it. Everybody has their own reason and their own new things to learn when they get here. So I think that's pretty interesting. I really love all of y'all's answers. So kicking off Black History Month, I feel that it's very important that throughout our day-to-day lives, we shine a light on HBCUs and the history behind them. A lot of people don't know, y'all, about some of our history and how it shaped our nation today. I'm sure that all of y'all's schools has their own backgrounds, but for example, at Prairie View A&M University, we were once a plantation, so it's like now to see Black excellence on this very land that was once, owned by slave owners, it's really crazy. So I just want to jump into conversation a little bit about that. What do you guys?
Yeah. I want to add to that. Jalen. Prairie View in itself, like, it's so crazy how far we've come and so much further we have to go. And just recently, and I felt like I should have known this, but just recently I learned that Prairie View actually helped establish a Supreme Court case that allowed college students to vote with their college address. This was years ago, but it's the fact that an HBCU got a case that was a local case, went all the way to the Supreme Court, and now all colleges, not just HBCUs, but all colleges can now have their students use their college address to vote. And okay, Jalen, we are not strangers to voter suppression at Prairie View, but we're gonna get into that later. But can you believe that? I mean, you heard Rachel tell her story about what exemplifies why she went to an HBCU. And I think, I feel like people should be talking about HBCUs a lot more, because when you think about the historical significance, like back in the day, literally people were getting denied to go to these the PWIs. And the only option they had was HBCUs. Martin Luther King, Morehouse, Rosa Parks, like these are huge change makers that went to HBCUs. So there's a big significance behind that. And I'm sure, like Jalen said, what are y'all's significance at your university, particularly that like historically, the significance behind your university. So go ahead, anyone jump in and share what they share.
I'm just gonna speak on Winston State. Winston State were founded in 1892, September 28th. The beauty about Winston-Salem is our school is built on the backs of the community. So the Renault family, they gave a good amount of money, but the community of Winston-Salem, East Winston, pretty much the hood, gave the most money to start this university. It doesn't matter if you are a student here. It doesn't matter if you live in the community. They rep Winston-Salem State. Winston-Salem State used to be called Slater Academy, then became Winston-Salem Teachers College. And in fact, at one point, before our nursing program was one of the best in the country, we produced the most Black teachers ever. Like that's what we produced. That was our niche before we acquired nursing, and that's just so amazing. Personally, just seeing the matriculation from where we were a little house, a one-story building, a one-story house, 4 rooms, 16 students and 2 professors. And now we're huge and we're growing even more. So, personally, these universities give people like us a chance. I'm just gonna say my story. When I was in high school, I didn't really care, I lived day by day, didn't really care about class. Then Winston took a chance on me, and I paid them back in full ever since. And I'm grateful for it. But yeah, it gives us a chance, because when people don't look our way, our people are willing to help us, and I think that's so special. You can't find that anywhere else. You can't find that at any other institution except our HBCUs.
Yes.
To piggyback off what he said, personally, I feel like, what makes my HBCU so special in terms of history is really the community aspect. Like, to be, in a centralized location, to, go down the street and, see people be able to help people that don't have, that's what WSSU has given me, a chance to give back, a chance to, really be who I feel like God has made me to be. Like, it's given me, so much. When I was getting out of high school, I had a 2.5 GPA. looking to go to a PWI. And I decided, I was like, hey, either I'm gonna stay here and try to get into UMass, try to get into, all these different schools. And I'm like, I have a chance to really take my talents far to where I know I can be accepted, to where I know I feel like I'm not just another number. And, I'm a person of worth. I'm a person that can be an asset and not just looked at as a liability at another school. And, having that sense of community and, those people that look out for you like a parent, in a sense, a home away from home, is really what I feel makes, my school so special. And to see where we came from, just from being, Slater Academy to the Teachers College, and now to be an HBCU that was on first take, an HBCU that has so much relevance and so much prestige behind it. There's nothing in the world like it.
Yeah, and I guess.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I mean, of course, the obvious, the vice president of the United States is a proud alumna of Howard University, right? And also a proud member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated Alpha Chapter. Just had to throw that in there.
Such a flex. That is such a flex.
Had to throw that in there. But yeah, no, Howard is just rich in history, right? Howard produces the most Black doctors. Howard produces the most Black attorneys, as well as those who decide to pursue a PhD. I would say that when we think of Thurgood Marshall and just the role that the Howard University School of Law played within the civil rights movement and within Brown v. Board, like Howard has always been at the forefront of change. But I would say that attending Howard University has honestly been like one of the greatest blessings, especially being in this position, being the 12th woman to serve as like the Howard University Student Association president has been just I can't even explain like how like wonderful it's been like to just know that like my peers and my colleagues like took a chance on me. And that's honestly how I feel about Howard. I feel like a lot of times like administration and alumni like just really took a chance on me, and like moving forward I just want to be able to pay it forward and just continue to like invest into my university. And even now, like with, I think Howard has a 7% acceptance rate. Had I applied, because y'all know standardized testing is the devil. But had I applied when I was like 4 years ago, if they had the rates now, I wouldn't have gotten in. So just knowing that Howard continues to, build leaders and like cultivate leaders, it's just been a beautiful experience.
Wow, I love that for you.
Yeah, so Dillard University is a really smaller college in Louisiana, but despite that, we have really and truly found ways to be impactful in not only the New Orleans community, but the Louisiana community. We were the first HBCU to ever be founded in Louisiana, founded in 1869. Wow. And we were formed from merging two colleges, Straight College, which was an all-male college here in New Orleans, and New Orleans University, and those both merged together to form what is Dillard University. And we are a founding member institution of the UNCF, United Negro College Fund. And last year we were ranked by Cosmopolitan as one of the 50 most beautiful college campuses in the country. So even though we, are a small institution, we still, try to have a great impact on the community. And especially in religious-wise, our affiliations are the United Church of Christ and the United Methodist Church. And they continuously pour money into us. One of the colleges that receive the most money from those two affiliations. So it just goes to show that, all HBCUs matter too.
For sure. Wow, that's some crazy. That's what I'm saying. Like the history behind it all it's interesting in its own way. And that's why I'm really excited to be reaching out to people from different schools and different backgrounds, because I know about Prairie View and what we've done. And, we think of it as so big, but, there's some big stuff going on in New Orleans. There's some big stuff going on in Howard, and so we're making change in our own little ways, in our own big ways throughout our communities. And we have to keep that going. And HBCU produces productive people, so it's crazy.
I agree. I agree. I mean, listening to all of you guys kind of go through your own narratives about your HBCUs is so powerful, because anybody watching right now could be a junior in high school, a senior in high school. And because we're in a pandemic, this is giving them the opportunity to hear about all these great opportunities that are at HBCUs. I remember making my decision. There's a wonderful plethora of colleges that cater to communications. And I knew, Prairie View was known for their agricultural, mechanical, their nursing school. I knew that. But my heart was so set on going to a place where I felt like I could thrive. And I can honestly say that when you go to an HBCU and you're surrounded by people who want to win, who want to succeed, and know that when they get into the real world, everybody is going to be against them or have something to say, you feel safe, you feel confident. I've never talked to one HBCU student that didn't say that their HBCU built that level of foundation of hustle, confidence. You walk into a room and you say, I went to Howard, I went to Dillard, I went to Winston-Salem. Like, you just feel different. Like, you got a lot on your shoulders. Just going to an HBCU, you got to carry that legacy. And it was so nice hearing you guys share those stories about the history of your colleges and your universities. And so I'd like to go into, the next thing, and that's really the fight for social justice. HBCUs have always been at the forefront of social justice, civil rights activism. And so we're going to go into a little bit of just history of the past and the present, things that are recent that we know that we've dealt with at our own universities. So I'd like to, kind of start talking about, for instance, I want to talk about South Carolina State. They used to fight discrimination a lot until there was a massacre that ended in 3 people losing their lives in order for them to have a desegregated bowling alley. Okay, that shows the extent of how much the other people do not want us to succeed. That right there is bad. We can go into Knoxville College. Okay, students and teachers began one of the first, and HBCUs are no strangers to first. They began one of the first voter registration drives in 1957. 1957, we have relatives that are still alive today that were around during this time. So that tells you how much further we have to go, okay? The last thing I'm gonna bring up is Shaw University. Now, this was the first meeting of the Student Nonviolent, Coordinating Committee. And we already know how important that is in that moment of history. And so when you look back over the history of HBCUs, we are no strangers, like I said, to first, but we know a lot about social activism and social justice reform. And even at Prairie View itself, we've struggled a lot with voter suppression. From years ago. I mean, my dad, a graduate, class of 1994, he can recall marching to the polls. And it's crazy because I attended in 2017 and I had to march. We started a march. We never stopped marching, to be honest. And we're just now seeing some momentum in getting our voting rights. And so I'm sure you guys have plenty of stories to share with us about your struggles of past and present social justice or any activism that you've had to participate at your university. So anyone's welcome to jump in.
So I'm just going to speak on Dr. Larry Little. Dr. Larry Little was one of the founding members of the Black Panther Party in Winston-Salem. He has his doctorate in law. He is a phenomenal man. I will say that. I've had his class. I participated in the freeing of Mr. Ronnie Long, who was falsely incarcerated for over 63 years. 63 years, remember that, 63 years. And literally, this is exactly what happened. He was cutting his grass. That's all he was cutting his grass with his shorts. And police officers said that he fit the description and he went to jail. And they've been fighting ever since. Winston-Salem State has poured money, resources. We did everything. We even went to our state capital, which is in March. We protested outside. We trolled against all the politicians, the DA for our our state, and we made things happen. And this actually in 2020, I believe it's November 2020, he was finally freed. So if that doesn't speak anything to you, like I got to see the man that I was writing to. I got to see the man that I held his poster for. I skipped class to go to this. Like I was serious about this because that can happen to me. That can happen to me just filling up my gas in my car.
Yeah.
It's scary out here. Just but furthermore, just yeah. Personally, that I think that's one of the biggest stories I've heard um, at my university.
That's a powerful story, and that's the power of Black voices and HBCUs getting together and actually fighting for something for the greater good. And he's free, so that's amazing. The problem starts though how he got there in the first place. So that's the fight will definitely keep going on that. But that was a great story.
And I don't mean to cut in, but it would not be right if me as a Black woman did not mention Sandra Bland. Okay, I can't tell you. When I watched the documentary, not only did I already know her story, because her mom visited all the history classes, any class she could at Prairie View when they were fighting that case to not build a jail around us so that they could put us in the jail. And we were paying tax dollars and we were voting against the jail, but somehow it still was built. Let's not get into that.
Wallace has a bad history.
Yeah. And driving down Sandra Bland Parkway, it isn't just like, oh, okay, I'm getting in my car, I'm entering university. No, I feel the weight, the pressure of, did I put my blinkers on? Am I going the speed limit? I watched that documentary and I cried. I fear already for my life. And I know that you guys do too, because she was simply getting into another lane, and everyone's seen the Facebook Live, got pulled over. This is a traffic stop, went to jail, and somehow mysteriously was suicidal, killed herself in the jail. But we've seen the pictures, we've read the court affidavits, and we've even had our own students, Jayla Allen, Nathan Alexander III. There's so many people that were a part of a court case to fight that. Yes. I mean, think about, you had a Panther of your own that you've seen before, and this wasn't too long ago. And now you're driving down Sandra Bland Parkway because a woman lost her life to police that's supposed to keep you safe around your university. Like, you guys speaking, about the history of things. And thank you, Lewis, for sharing that, because we've experienced some things and even been a part of history. And that really changes how we look at our HBCUs too. I'm sorry, I had to say that because
you're fine. You're fine. It was very necessary, and we're still fighting to this day.
I want to add this little tidbit. I mean, there's also the social justice portion, but you also got to think of the economy. A lot of people don't know, but the Black Panther Party in Winston-Salem, they started the free lunch program, the free breakfast program for students.
Wow, I did not know that. I didn't know that.
So they started that right there in Winston-Salem because the poverty level is very high. Just be real, and we all know some people who need to have that breakfast, and they made that happen. And I just think that's amazing. I just wanted to say that because, yeah, that's just amazing to me.
Yeah, that definitely is.
To piggyback off the other two colleagues, for me, I feel like, a pivotal moment in my career at Winston-Salem State University would have to be this past summer, seeing the killing of George Floyd, on video, seeing the lengths that my people have gone to really protest and really be a part of that issue and try to find the root and the cause of what can be done to eliminate, the mass incarceration of our people. I feel like, we as people only want to, promote and, be active for things that aren't important. I'm dealing with that in my own personal life. We always want to be on the scene for things that are hot or what's popping, and to, be able to see firsthand the lengths that my friends and my colleagues and, you know, professionals want to go to really be a voice and to really be a voice for the people that don't have one was amazing, you know, to really be in our own quote unquote, you know, tale of the times with coronavirus and with, you know, racial inequity, to be able to see it, not saying that it's a good thing, but to be able to, you know, empathize and understand a portion of what our people have gone through, to be able to really be, you know, an activist, to be one of the people to really ensure that we are heard, because we matter, you know, no matter how you want to, you know, spin the tale and, you know, try to misconstrue words, we matter. And I feel like, you know, HBCUs in general give us that power and give us that form that was another number, like I said earlier, and really make to understand, you know, what I bring to the table as a Black man and a student.
Yes, for sure. Spencer, Rachel,
Oh, yeah.
well, Rachel, we know that your school has a big background. Could you guys tell us a little bit about, you know, some issues that you guys have used your voices to fight against?
Yeah, absolutely. So this election, since the Howard University Student Association has been committed to registering as many Black students as possible, just to share a little bit about like my personal journey when I first got on Howard's campus my freshman year, I really wanted to make sure that like students were, you know, able to register to vote like on Accepted Students Day. So by myself, I was able to register like 105 students. And then moving forward, like within the past like 2 years, the Howard University Student Association has registered over 4,000 students, and Howard's enrollment is about 10,000. So that means that we are registering, you know, primarily freshmen, which is just such a great honor. And so, but moving forward, now that Howard was, you know, virtual this entire year, you know, we still, even though we have a challenge, we still have a responsibility to the community. So that being said, like the Howard University Student Association started an HBCU mobilization task force, which consisted of university presidents, CEOs and attorneys, as well as student leaders across like the nation. And so with that being said, we were able to spearhead like voter registration drives, as well as poll working information settings, so that students at HBCUs will, you know, become a poll worker during the election, since we know that that's usually those roles are fulfilled by the elderly. And so given COVID, we wanted to make sure that, you know, HBCU students were a part of that conversation. And so, yeah, that, and then also we tracked issues of voter suppression on election day. And we were able to speak with like the legal team at Howard and the external affairs team to make sure that we were able to provide a solution for these campuses and these students that, you know, were suppressed. So those are just like a few things that we've done. And then also I feel as if it's appropriate to talk about how when you're in these roles of leadership, you have to understand that it's bigger than you, but you have to maintain the legacy. So with that being said, I got invited to give a brief speech for like the March on Washington, like this past August. And to be honest with you, like I did not want to do it. Like I was like, okay, right, like you have the LSAT, like you need to be focused, like you need to be studying, like no. But then I'm like, girl, you this is your position, you know what I mean? Like this is what you need to do. Like you have to think about like the legacy of like Howard, and like traditionally Howard student leaders go to the dean of chapel. I remember I was talking to him, just to Dean Richardson, like to just get like counsel and like feedback as to like if I should, you know, give this speech or whatnot. And he said that, you know, Stokely Carmichael, literally like whenever all the stuff was popping off with Howard and popping off like within the world, like, you know, he would seek counsel like in the like within the church, because he knew that the chapel is not like a judgmental like community. And so, and it's like it's a safe haven. So with that being said, like after receiving counsel from Dean Richardson, like I was able to like give that speech, which, you know, just means like so much. So being at and then also when it comes to like protesting and, you know, everything that, not even everything, like because I feel as if, you know, COVID has just made it more apparent like just how racist people are and just how flawed the system is. And so with that being said, Hugh said we were able to like spearhead like a donation drive like for everything that was happening after George Floyd, where we were able to like raise like over $5,000.
Wow, that's amazing.
So for Dillard, if we go back to 2005, New Orleans was impacted by one of the worst storms in history, known as Hurricane Katrina, as you all know. Completely obliterated the campus. Nothing was left. It was just left in ruins, basically. And you have other colleges in New Orleans besides HBCUs, PWIs, like known as Loyola University, Tulane University, and those campuses were damaged as well. But the government at that time wanted to pour more money into those PWIs like Tulane and Loyola University, and didn't want to spend the money to help Dillard and then Xavier University in Louisiana keep themselves alive. So, but the people in the New Orleans community, they were not having that. They said, keep these HBCUs alive, and rioted in front of the New Orleans City Hall and said, you keep these HBCUs open, because we see the impact that they have on young Black lives. And eventually the government, they did listen, I guess rioting did work. And the government poured hundreds of millions of dollars into the restoration of Dillard University. And now 151 years later, we are still here and still are a beautiful campus. So Dillard is no stranger to injustice, even federally. And then, as Bruce mentioned, after the killings of George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery, Dillard really took a response to that. And after that, in June of 2020, Dillard established the Dillard University Center for Racial Justice, which has become like this open forum where many different speakers can come in and give lectures to Black students, and offers classes such as sociology of Black Americans, civil rights and civil liberties, and policy and services and leadership, ethical decision making. And I just feel like that's something that you don't get at a lot of schools, classes that are specifically catered to teaching young Black people how to go out in society and still succeed. So.
Wow. Y'all definitely have had y'all's fair share of helping and giving back to the community. So that's really great. Shout out to y'all. Wow. So, I just think that looking at everybody's examples and stories, it just really goes back to really solidifying how we have to continue to fight and use our voices. So I definitely wanted to go back to what Tati was talking about in regards to Sandra Bland. We have had marches in regards to voter suppression, stuff like that, and it still goes on nowadays. So now we want to ask you guys, where do we go from here? What are ways that we can, change it up, make better policies, fight for better policies? What are some ways that you guys think that we can continue to grow and continue to make everything more, socially just?
Yeah.
Personally,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
Oh,
I mean, it's up to you. It's up to you.
I was just gonna piggyback off what Jalen was saying. You guys mentioned a lot about you this past summer with George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor. Like, these are lives that were lost due to police brutality, and we know so many other names, but I feel like COVID really made us look at ourselves, really made us look at the true ugliness of racism. And I think Rachel was saying it, and she was just basically saying that, this pandemic, it really exposed a lot about people. It really did. And you couldn't hide. I mean, we had social media, we had Instagram, Twitter, and to even piggyback off what Jalen was saying about marches, I'm at home on my phone, and as we have what we call PV Twitter, I know you guys have like Dillard Twitter and Winston-Salem Twitter and Howard Twitter. And I know you guys have like all of your HBCUs have that type of like Twitter kind of culture. And I literally scrolling through my phone, and I'm like, I can't wait till the students do something. I wish I was in Texas, because I'm originally from Georgia. So that's where my home is. And I'm like, I can't wait till they do something about this George Floyd incident. And sure enough, a march, not even a week after protest, a march. Students came together from all organizations, organized a march, And that march made our Houston news channels, okay? Every news channel had broadcasted that march and students were posting it. And then it only took about what, 1 day, Jalen? Like, would you say like 1 day to circulate?
It definitely did not take long. I think everyone was equally frustrated for all the same and right reasons. So everyone definitely got out and used their voices quickly.
Yeah.
It did not take long at all.
So it's like, when you think about it, where do we go from here? I mean, think about what we all got to do this summer, how we all got to use our positions, our voices, our platforms. You know, we have already started the change. We've
Right.
already kind of gotten the momentum. We just got to keep it going. So you guys go ahead and share, you know, what ways can we keep that going, that same momentum, and keep fighting?
I think personally, just taking notes from other cultures. So, um, I'm not sure you guys know, but within the Jewish culture, at least in New York, they only buy Jewish stuff. They invest in Jewish businesses, so their community always is going to flourish. I think as long as we keep giving back to our businesses, give back to our communities, we will always flourish. I think sometimes we just need to give back. Essentially, like we need to inspire the next generation to come to HBCUs. Um, like Howard, in fact, for Howard, they had a huge movement as far as uh, the basketball player to come to an HBCU. Because back in the day, like at least in my school, we had a lot of NBA prospects, a lot of great talent. In fact, HBCUs really ran athletics, but
Mm.
you know, I personally I feel like we can just inspire these students, like target these high school students. Because personally, at my high school, I was primarily white high school. They didn't talk about HBCUs. We need to force that conversation. We need to force our hand. Um, because there's students that were just like me, a 2.5, didn't really do much, but I wanted to go to college. I wanted to make a life for myself. So we need to force these conversations. Essentially, we need to give our students a chance.
Personally, for me, I feel like in order to spark that change, it starts with what Tatiana saying. We started the change, but I feel like it starts educating people younger than us, because eventually we're gonna be where the OGs are at. We're gonna be where, you know, people, where our parents are at. We're gonna be older, and we're not gonna be in tune with a lot of the things that we are in tune with now. So it starts with educating the under us to really be one to want to use their voices to really spark change. Because when it's all said and done, when we're older, and the younger people under us, they won't be in tune with that. They're going to be in tune with the same things that we are in tune with as students, as social butterflies. And I feel like it just starts with spreading a simple message of, I want you to pay attention to, you know, things that we went through, things that our elders went through, because, you know, you may be faced with that same dilemma or that same, you know, misguided opportunity to really be of a person that can use their voice to do anything we want. You know, at HBCUs, it creates so much magic. And I feel like we don't understand that. We don't understand the premise of the power that we have, and you know what we hold. And as it was once told to me, you know, realize your power, realize your worth, because at the end of the day, ain't nobody else gonna do it for you. Your mama can't help you realize that. That's something that's within you to realize, and to know that we can do whatever we want to. You know, these lands and, you know, these institutions are ours, but the real work starts when we get that degree, when we say, hey, I graduated from the illustrious, I graduated from the stupendous, the exuberant. Like, you know, it's all about what you do with your opportunity, and it starts with educating the people under us.
Yes. And we have someone commented, Kelsey Griffin, a student at Prairie View A&M University. She said, I think Deion Sanders coaching at Jackson State has also helped put HBCUs on the forefront, but we have to do more. I think that's a pretty big step, and I do agree with you, Kelsey.
Yeah, no, I agree as well. I would say that, you know, one, acknowledge the fact that you're already at an HBCU. There, you know, when we look at our alum, we look at the social engineers of this country, right? They were literally where you were. So you're not here by accident. So by you attending your HBCU, it's important that you accept the responsibility that comes with it, right? So when it comes to what we can do, like as people, like moving forward, get involved, run for office, look at local elections. You know what I mean? Like look at who is running for a district attorney. You know, look at the prosecutors. You know what I mean? Like you can literally, you see how fast, you know, business gets out there within our schools, Twitter. You know, when we see different videos, we know everybody's business, and then all of a sudden it's a hashtag. But when our district attorneys, when our what's it called, when our legislators are out here tweeting reckless things, we don't hold them accountable. You know,
Exactly.
we need to have that same mentality. Yeah, so I would say run for office, look at the different alum who are running for office to support them, and use your platform. Don't, like, you're all here for a reason. We all have these wonderful positions that are bigger than us because we're contributing to the legacy. Just how we talk about Vice President Kamala Harris, and we talk about, all the alum that came from our schools. Understand and be honored that one day people are going to be talking about you in that same light. So act like it.
I love that.
So to answer your question, I would say keep fighting the good fight, keep making good trouble. Don't go for a seat at the table, but instead make your own table.
Love it.
HBCUs, the world would not be the same without HBCUs, and I think we all know that. The HBCUs have more impact on the country and the whole world, like I said, than you think. And I just think it's important to, like you all said before, to train up the next generation. Keep spreading the good news about HBCUs. Yeah. When you see someone talk bad about your HBCU, slam them back with good facts about your HBCU, and don't let them diminish the talent that is at your institution. Because, it's not up to us, it's up to us, but it's not up to us to carry the legacy of HBCUs. It's up to the next generation, but it is up to us to train them up in such a way that they appreciate HBCUs in the same way that we do. So with each of us, with all of our respective positions, use your voice, use your power. It may be just a college position that somebody may think, may not matter after that, but it does matter. And that's why we have the Vice President of the United States. She is from an HBCU, and she is the first Black woman to be the Vice President of the United States. Wow, I cannot believe I just said that.
I know, right? So amazing.
But just in short, like I said before, keep fighting the good fight, keep making good trouble. Don't go for a seat at the table, make your own table.
I don't mean to interrupt or keep it going, but to piggyback off your point, to say that the positions, people think that the positions that we hold are small. We don't realize the power and the lessons that we get from holding these positions. Like, we literally are the next. A lot of these positions that we hold really give valuable skills to really be one to teach and one to lead. I didn't really understand the length and the prowess of my position on my campus because of not having access to opportunities or not be willing to be in those lights, because of shyness, because of not really feeling adequate, and I was able to take a stand my senior year and be able to say, I'm worth more than just being in my room. I'm worth something. I have something to bring to the table, and let me execute and, be one of a person that people can call on when they need to be led. And, it feels good to be in a position of power because I know that these skills will translate to me being in, a CEO position to help communities and be of a people person.
Right. Definitely readying you for the future. I completely agree.
Can I just say one thing? Okay, listen, Spencer, you're going to have to tweet that and hashtag don't go for a seat at the table, make your own table. That is literally like, I think whenever any of us go for these like crazy, amazing opportunities, we are not going with the thought like, I just want to get in the door. We're never going with that. We are going because of the legacy behind us. We're going because we deserve those positions. So I love that. I got somebody in the chat drop that. Don't go for a seat at the table. Make your own table. And can I just flex a little bit? Prairie View. Okay. And Jalen, you know this already. Prairie View.
I'm all for the flexing. Let's go. I'm all for it.
Hear me? Okay. Prairie View, literally, just this past election, we have the youngest county commissioner in the state of Texas, Kendrick Jones, Prairie View alum. And he's a recent grad, not recent, like recent, but recent, like, not
I knew that too.
Yeah. Love that.
That's history, y'all. It was what Rachel was saying. Look for those elections, okay? Look to work in your local, like, city council. You know, that's what we're here for. We're here to make
Right.
history.
Exactly.
I think just
That is
to,
important. Oh, go ahead.
oh,
Go ahead.
well, I think just to piggyback off of you, after you graduate from your HBCU, your work does not stop.
Oh, I love
Go and be impactful in your community, run for offices, be great in the medical field or wherever you do, be great.
Yes,
I think. Go ahead.
No,
I just
I'm loving what y'all are saying. I'm just
Take it all in.
yeah.
because I'm thinking everywhere I go, I always talk about my HBCU. I always talk about, like, I could be in a room full of NBA executives. I'm gonna make sure they know about my HBCU.
Exactly.
And for us to do things like this, I'm at a school in North Carolina. I'm talking to people that are living in Texas right now, in Louisiana, in DC. Like, this is what it means to really unite. And if we keep the unity like we have right now, we're unstoppable. You can't touch us. We're amazing. We're excellence. We embody Black excellence. We embody the word greatness. Simple.
Right, because whether your HBCU has a population of 500 or 32,000, yours matters.
Right, we all matter. We all set the tone. We all set the trend, and to be able to be on a forum like this and to meet different people and learn different people's perspectives. Excuse me, is major. Like, I pray that we connect on a different level just from having this panel and to be of people to call on, because HBCUs promote brotherhood and sisterhood, and this is what we need, more discussions like this. So I hope that this discussion is only one of many for our people, and that more people can really join in on what it means to embody being a student at HBCU.
And I will say it's important to have discussions, but it's also important to put action behind the discussions as well. And don't just leave it in the discussion. Don't just talk about what you're going to do, but go out and do it, whatever it is.
For sure. I completely agree. And you know what? Just with all the conversations that we've been having, we all know and have familiarized each other about our HBCUs, the good fight that we fought. But people also want to know, the high schoolers, they want to know what it's like being in an HBCU. The fun stuff, the socializing, the friends. I'm sure there's people watching who would want to know about that, want to know, just a little bit more details about the experience. I'm sure you guys can attest that you've had lots of fun.
So I just want to say, oh, go ahead.
I want to recognize the chat a little bit, y'all. We got some people excited to hear this conversation. So this person, Chris Smith, wants to know, how do you feel about people that are not African American coming to an HBCU? Now, I know we all have this. HBCUs are extremely diverse. So go ahead and speak on that.
So look, I'm just gonna speak on it. We're a family. It doesn't matter if you Black, brown, white, African American, Asian. You come to HBCU, you're automatically good in my book, because you're stepping out of your comfort zone to come be with us.
Right.
I'm just, look. We have people in Greek life that are Asian. We have people in Greek life that are Hispanic. We have people who are white. It doesn't matter. When you step foot on this campus, when you step foot on any HBCU, you gain my respect. You gain my respect. That's just that. Personally, look, he came here for education, so did you.
Yeah.
You're no different from he is or she is. We're all here for the same reason. And that's just how I see it.
You took the words out of my mouth. Took them out.
We also have a question which made me bring up HBCU life. It says, so how do all freshmen have to stay inside their dorms all year? No, you do. Well, actually, yes, you do. At Prairie View, you do. You have to stay on campus the first year. And then after that, you can go and be wherever you would like. So it's questions like that, you guys, that makes me realize, I think people want to know, your personal experiences at your respective.
So, I think an HBCU is the only place where when you're at an HBCU party, you can go from hearing Chief Keef to hearing Kirk Franklin right at the next.
Won't he do it?
You're down in New Orleans, so I know y'all are having fun.
Won't he will. So just to say, HBCUs, like I think I mentioned before, you will never find a family atmosphere like you will find in HBCU, being surrounded by like-minded people that go through the same struggles as you, but also want to succeed just like you as well. And then it's just, I don't even know what else to say.
Personally, it's a utopia. Think about like a utopia. It's kind of like the bubble that was in Florida for the NBA. That's kind of how we live our lives. Every day you're living your life with your people.
Right.
Like I will say that college has made lifelong friends. Bruce on this call, he is one of my best friends. I call him every day. I never would have met Bruce if I didn't went to any other university. And I commend Winston State and HBCUs for giving me the opportunity to meet such people. And I can say at my HBCU and all HBCUs, you're not a number. Your professors will know you. I had a situation my freshman year. I was stranded like 30 minutes away at a party. My professor came and got me.
Wow.
He came and got me. You can't find that at UNC. You're not finding that. I'm sorry. But personally, like it's more than just the parties that we're going to. It's more than the events. It's the family. It's the academics. It's the attention to detail. That's what we came here for.
Yeah.
Like, and personally, I went from being a person in high school that just went to class. I'm involved in everything. I was on ESPN this morning. I'm on this. I gotta get on another call right after this. Like, if there's one thing that I can say about being an HBCU student, bro, it brings out the hustle and the drive that makes us so great. That's it. That's on 1892.
Wow.
Yeah, I would say Howard has provided me with the best of both worlds. I would say that, like, even now that, we have been on, like, we have virtual instruction. When I tell you I had so much fun, like people used to call me crazy Rach, like that honestly, I think that's why I got elected, because people knew I like handle my business, but everybody knew I'm a fun type of gal. So like, I remember I used to party like every day, and then like freshman year, and then I would go like to my 8 a.m.s, like I still got a 4.0. Like, I feel like, that's just what you do. Like, you make your connections, and you learn how to create your own balance, because what's important to you, you're going to figure that out. So yeah, I hope that, now that things are virtual, hybrid, if you want to be a part of those conversations, when it comes to like how y'all's culture looks like moving forward, be a part of like SGA, so that you can have like a seat at the table. Cause I would, cause even as I'm, starting to talk about like all the fun that I have, I'm like, dang, the college is different now. You know what I mean? So if you want things to go if you want things to go your way, like just make sure that you really have that key and that really good relationship with admin. But yeah, I would say that like Howard and like just HBCs in general, like really push you to be your best self. Like, one of my favorite quotes is that you're an average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. When I tell you, people at Howard, I thought I was like driven. I thought I was, smart or whatever. And I remember the first week I got to Howard, and I'm literally in class. This person owns a business. This person owns like a nonprofit. Like, everybody has a side hustle. Like, there are 3 like valedictorians. I'm like, I'm not the only special one. Like, you feel me? Like, everybody else is walking into their gift, walking into, their purpose. And, we're all able to, be together, like mesh together to, only like strengthen and like, help everyone. So going to an HBCU has by far been like the best blessing. Like, my line sisters, I don't know. And that's another thing. Since we're in college, the last thing I'm going to say, you don't have anything. Like, we don't have money. You don't have real connections. You know what I mean? You can't call a favor and be like, hey, can you get this person into law school? You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't have that right now. So it's like the people that are your friends are truly your friends because you don't have anything. So just peep and have fun.
And then I think just one more point, being in an HBCU, you really develop your network and communication skills. I think if I hadn't gone to come to an HBCU, like, I wouldn't have the close personal relationship that I have with my college president right now. Just last semester, he sent me this random email, and it was like, Spencer, I have this internship for you that I think you'd really be good for. It's with the Urban League of Louisiana. I'm like, well, go ahead. And then I applied and got accepted to it. So it's just little things, not little things, it's actually big, but it's things like that, that are a highlight of going to an HBCU. Yeah.
Man, I just want to say this. I just want to say my favorite quote. Carve your names on hearts, not tombstone. A legacy is etched into the minds of others and the stories that they talk about you. That's it. Essentially that's what being at HBCU feels like. We all create our own legacy, our own past. We come in a freshman just careless, and now we could be CAB president. We could be the SGA president.
Yeah.
We could be national champions.
President, apparently.
We could be president. Look
Yeah.
at it. We could be the highest paid sports commentator in the world. We could do anything.
Yes, and we're gonna do that. And Tati, you know what? I think we have a pretty good question. Did you want to answer that, Tati?
Yeah, so I know, guys, it's getting late. Y'all are busy. I know y'all need y'all sleep. We all need to recharge so we can be great, just as great as we're talking about for the next day. So I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all know there's 2 questions in the chat. Now, the first one I'm gonna ask, it might be a little difficult, but y'all are amazing, so y'all are gonna be able to answer it. So here I go. Basically, the question is asking, do you think that attending an HBCU, and then going into the real world, do you think that that'll be a wake-up call or somewhat a challenge because you were majority, what is the word? Say it, majority.
Surrounded around majority of
basically, like, do you think like going to an HBCU and then entering the real world because you were kind of surrounded by people that look like you, do you think that's going to be a challenge, or will it be a wake-up call, or will it just be an easy transition?
Y'all have made some interesting faces. I know y'all got some good answers.
I think personally, like going to an HBCU and then doing stuff with other people, it makes you realize what your worth is and how much you actually matter, and the amount of stuff that you can take and what you will and won't take. Because I know that you're not going to talk to me any type of way. I deserve to be here just as much as you do.
Right.
So for it to be a wake-up call, no. I'm built for this. You're built for this. That's just how I see it.
I definitely agree with him. It's not a wake-up call at all. As a matter of fact, I think it'll help you too, because you went from being in this majority in 4 years, and like he said, you learn your worth, and you know that like you say, you're not just going to talk to me any kind of way. You're going to treat me with respect, and you're going to treat me with dignity. And you learn that, and you really become self-confident. You develop a lot of self-confidence when you're at an HBCU, so that you won't feel like you're less than when you go out into the real world. And when you get with different racial groups, you feel powerful, and you feel empowered being surrounded by people that are being surrounded by your people. So
yeah, for sure. And sorry, go ahead. Rachel, what do you think? Do you think that it'll be a challenge for you by you going to HBCU after school?
Not at all, because you learn how to meet people where they are. I feel as if like being at an HBCU, being in this position, I have been around like you. Yeah, I feel like, the way I talk, you just have to be comfortable with like who you are, because if you know who you are, you can be able to talk to anyone. And like so that's why you're at an HBCU, to like learn who you are, be around your people, learn, information, history that has been deprived of you. And so, yeah, so that should never be a fear. And if other people view it that way, that doesn't matter. Like, who are they?
For sure. And you know what? I definitely agree with everything y'all said. I think that it's definitely gonna help us and benefit us, if anything. And a lot of people don't know about HBCUs in regards to their diversity. There's different, people from different tribes of Africa that go to HBCUs. There's lots of different people that we meet. So that's a big misconception as well. But yeah. Well, I think this was a great chat, you guys. I think this was a great table talk. We definitely covered a lot of different subjects, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the great about going to HBCUs. There's definitely more good There isn't any bad, actually. But yeah, I just want to thank you guys so much. Tati, is there anything, ending remarks you would like to say?
Yeah, I just want to thank everyone for taking the time out of their evening to speak with us and our viewers about how amazing our HBCUs are and how we can, change the world. I really like, what everyone said, especially, Lewis, you basically were saying, we're built for this. Okay, period. Drop the mic. And Spencer, I love when you said, create the table. Don't look for the seat, like create the table for yourself. So that right there just really says it all. So thank you guys for joining us. And I hope that this speaks to someone and gives them some insight on what it's like to really go to an HBCU.
And I just want to say thank you to Jalen and Tatiana for being such, great hosts, and thank you to Mr. Hampton as well for overseeing us. But most of all, thank you for allowing us to come and speak on this platform and really promoting HBCU unity.
Yes, of course, Spencer.
Thank you to the amazing Panthers at PV. Special shout out to my CAB president brother, Marcus, for putting me on this call.
Oh yeah.
And shout out to Gregory Bowens for putting me on this call too.
Great. Okay, y'all know the PV heavy hitters. Okay.
They know. They know.
Yes.
Real, no real. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much. Y'all have a great evening.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.